So, welcome to the Wise Guys. But I have news for you. This isn't a podcast. All right? It's not a podcast. All right? It's a spiritual back alley fight behind your soul. We're not here to soothe. We're here to shatter outdated dogmas, sanctified nonsense, and the soft, sleepy stories we've been told about who we are and what this life is supposed to mean. You like that? Huh? Look, I got sound effects in the background.
The sound effects.
I was waiting for your shattered ceiling, and I didn't hear it. So.
No, yeah, I didn't have that. That's right. That's right. We're not going to do the shatter tonight. So anyway, we're doing a spiritual back alley tonight, man. So here we are. We're not going to take any prisoners. And the big question, of course, has to come. Hey, guys, gals out there, you want some of that or not? Stick with us if you do. But with me are the Wise Guys, man. So we got the Rev.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here with my wisdom on.
There it is. But he mystically rebukes the norm and shoves it off the cliff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen this happen.
Yes. And then we got Coach Stu.
Hello.
And there he is. And he preaches love over glitter.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Together they drag the truth, kicking and screaming into the spotlight.
Kicking and screaming down the path of transformation.
There it is.
That's right.
Together they rip open. Here it is. You like this? Oh, we were chatting about this. Together they rip open the bloated belly of tradition and root through the guts for something real, raw, and revolutionary.
I love that.
I got my guys, man. Who
The
else
monk has
can-
led us down the dark path, I think.
It's almost like we spent time on a farm. It's kind of what this sounds like.
Oh, I love it. So we're
Yes.
not taking any prisoners tonight, gang.
Well,
All
you know what
all
this says about all three of us is we are exotic cocktails. So let me say hello to all of you
Yes.
beautiful exotic cocktails out there. Welcome
Thanks
to
for
the Wise
listening.
Guys
Absolutely.
podcast.
In spite of us, yes, we're glad you're here.
We crack ourselves up.
Yes, we do. But I thought those were some pretty good intros that Stu came up with them this week.
Somebody told me that they were listening to our podcast, and they said, you guys seem to really enjoy each other's company. And I said, yeah, this is the highlight of my week.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's a commentary about my week or just the
too.
quality of what we do.
Oh, no, it's quality. Quality.
This always
So-
gets me through squat day in my powerlifting training.
there we go.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, Tuesday's a hump day for me instead of Wednesday. So,
well, hey,
it's all
okay.
good. All right, here we are. Words to the wise.
Let's hear them.
Here it is. Get ready. If light is in your heart, you will find your way home.
I love that.
Isn't it cool?
That's really cool.
I mean, isn't that encouraging? Isn't that just an exhale almost? That, whoa.
Didn't somebody say at some point, be a lamp unto yourself?
Yeah.
I don't know where that is, but
in the Bible.
I know
Yeah.
it's there somewhere,
It's
but
in
I'm
the
not
Old
going to come up
Testament.
with where it is.
Yeah.
But be a light
like this.
unto yourself.
Yeah.
I was debating in my mind if I should express my geekiness, but I'm about to do it.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Go
so
for it.
there's something in Harry Potter. Yes. I've read all the books.
Oh, God.
It's called a Deluminator. And there's a couple things it does, but it's invented by Albus Dumbledore. But one of the things it does is it pulls like this light and love into you, and it leads you back home, like even through darkness,
Yeah. Well, that's the point here.
there you go.
For
Right?
sure. So I guess the important part about that statement is, if light is in your heart, it really is. It's in everybody's heart. It's just a matter of it got under a bushel, or is it, is it shining brightly?
If you're shining on the inside, it can never be too dark on the outside.
Oh, I like
You
that.
always
true.
got a light wherever you go, no matter
like
how
that.
difficult.
Well, that might be another meme. Here we go already. Starting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
All
sure
right.
there's going to be more where that came from.
All right, so that's words to the wise. So we are talking about mysticism tonight. We're talking about the mystic, a mystic, and then mysticism a bit. And, I want to debunk right up front that this is super cool. I don't know what other word to use, okay? It really is, and it can make a huge difference in your life. It has in mine. I know for the guys here too. And you got to kind of just put some stuff aside that might come to your mind when you hear that word, when you hear the word mystic or mysticism All right. So, we're not going to go to the tarot card reading or the astrology or the seance or whatever, anything that might come to your mind, all the goofy stuff. All right.
That's just the opposite of mysticism.
Right. That's not. So don't let your brain go there. You think that's what we're going to be talking about, because we're not. Okay. But I want to kind of start this this episode out with one of my favorite songs. I mean, I just love this song, and it's by Van Morrison. And we're just going to play a little bit of it, and then kind of tie some of the dots together as to why. Well, why'd you play that, Mac? Because I'm a monk, first of all. Okay, not a
mad monk,
not a mook, but a monk. Okay,
mad monk.
All right. So here we go.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one as we sail into the mystic. Oh, I can now hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic.
Yeah. Right.
Love it.
Good stuff. And here I was thinking about this as I listened to that, and I put these couple stanzas in here just to kind of jump us off. And I said, gee, I wonder what those words meant. And then I said to myself, they mean whatever I think they mean.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because it's real easy to say, well, what was Van Morrison thinking about when he wrote this song? And what's that thing mean? And that takes it right out of it. I mean, it's curiosity.
Every time I hear that song, I ask myself the question, am I a rowboat or a sailboat? Oh. And your sailing means I have to rely on something else. Rowboat, I've lived a lot of my life rowing, trying to find God. And when I put the sails up and let the wind carry me into the mystical experience and awareness, it was a way more beautiful place.
I like
and I wasn't
that.
so tired. So we get to be a sailboat tonight.
I love it.
So you said you were going to tell us what this meant to you.
To me?
Yes, to you.
Okay. So, it's really more in the second stanza, hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. And again, it's about sensations. I think when we start to talk about mystical stuff and mystics, it absolutely enhances the senses when you begin to press into this. And then it said, let your soul and spirit fly. And this gets to right what Rev was just talking about, that it's uncontrollable, it's of the wind, it's going. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful part about it, because the last thing you want to do is try to control your soul and your spirit. Okay? Let it go.
I love that idea of smelling the ocean before you're there.
Yeah.
That's what the mystical experience is to me. I remember driving over the hill, mountains to Santa Cruz, and you get to the top of the hill, you smell the ocean.
Yeah.
You can feel it and sense it in the air before you're on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
You're already living in the awareness of it. That's the mystical experience for me.
I've done that. I used to live right on the other side of the mountains, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. That's really cool. The water's cold, but it's still...
I love the Pacific Ocean.
Fun, okay? And then it says, into the mystic. Not into the mystical.
Right.
Which would kind of be more grammatically correct. Into the mystic. And, to me, that just sort of says... drop some of the norms that you think about this whole thing, and we're just going into that whole experience of the mystic. It's not a person, it's not necessarily a place, it's an experience, So anyway, that's
cool.
what that says for me.
It's a presence, it's a being, it's an essence.
Yeah.
Uncontrollable.
Yeah. So the mystic, right? That's what we're going to talk about tonight, right? Man, the mystic. So let's do a little step back here as we get started. We're going to talk about, let's define maybe, quote, mysticism. And the Rev said in the pre-show, and I thought it was really a good point, we are going to try to talk about something and define something that is undefinable.
It's ineffable. It's beyond words.
Right. We're going to do our best, but the best part of what we're going to try to do is that we can't explain it all. Okay? So we're leaving you to mull it over and let the spirit and the wind and the whatever move through you, and you're going to come up with your own. place and experience and definition to a point. So that's what we love about this. That's, I think, what's really cool. So anyway, mysticism, let's just kind of, we'll try to ground this a little bit anyway, give us a jumping off point. So mysticism is defined as experience of mystical union or direct communication with ultimate reality, which again, plug in God, the universe, spirit,
Love.
oneness, whatever. So, that's the ultimate reality, but it's an experience of a union. Again, how explain that? You can't explain it.
I think it's kind of beyond what you can grasp by, your intellect or even language, like words you use, or sometimes even the senses. I think it's just beyond all that.
It just is. You
it just is,
you
right?
just sit in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's holy. I know it's beautiful and it's good.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it is.
Yep.
Right? So that's part of the definition, or at least part of the experience.
So the mystical experience is unitive.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. It's not dualistic. All right. So that's a good point right there. Let's keep that in mind. All right. It's not, I have mystical, and I'm a mystic or I'm not. Or those people over there are mystical and they aren't. All right. That kind of thing. No, we're not going with the dualism. All right. Mysticism, attainment of insight into hidden truths. Now that can, okay, but here's the deal. There's truths out there that are hidden. The Bible even says that. Okay. So, if you're kind of wondering about that, and thank goodness that they're hidden, right? It's kind of like that. If I can imagine what God's like, I have an imaginary God. Okay. So, you want that. You want those hidden truths that become more known to you over time as you sail into the mystic, right?
The thing is, noetic is the word I use for this.
Yeah.
There's greater insights. And in order to do that, you have to let go of what you know, because it's a greater download of God.
Yeah.
It's like going onto the top of the mountain only to realize there's 10 more mountains. You'll get comfortable with the mountain you're on, but you got to go down, back into the valley, and go up another one, and another one. And if you are comfortable in just this is the only mountain, you're never going to get to the greater insight, the greater truth. So the mystical experience means I have to suspend everything I've been taught in order to get the download from God.
Well, I think suspend is the key word there. Not throw out. Not
throw it at all.
No, not push it out or anything like that. Just hold it lightly for a bit. Right?
Building blocks. What I've known is a building block for what I'm going to know tomorrow.
Right.
And what I know tomorrow will be a building block for what I'll know 10 years from now. I'm ever learning. I'm forever a student.
Right. Well, and this stuff, we're setting the groundwork here, but we also are going to tell you, we're going to answer, at least we're going to try to answer what you may be thinking right now or going to think as we go along here. Well, why? Okay. Yeah, I hear you guys. Yeah, it sounds kind of cool. Yeah, I can kind of get some of that, but why bother? Okay. So if that's going through your head right now, if that's what you're kind of pondering, we'll get there.
Stick around.
Stick around. Okay. Absolutely. All right. Mysticism would typically, but not always, include some supernaturalism. All right. Now, what I mean by that is there's all kinds of supernatural types of things that come into our beliefs, that come into our faith, that come into a belief that there are things that beyond the natural, right? Supernatural. All right. So, again, if you are tuned in a way that you're coming more in communion with the ultimate reality, you are going to start to see some things that for you are supernatural to what you've experienced before. And again, I think that's put me in a game, coach. I mean, I want some of that, right? So it's beautiful, all right? But you have to look at it. You might have some biases or some preconceived notions of what this thing's all about. And we're trying to open that up a little bit for you here.
Every revelation, every epiphany throughout history, whether it be scientific, spiritual, or otherwise, came from somebody who said, I'm experiencing something I've never experienced before. I don't know how to define it. I don't know how to get my hands around it, which is what the mystical experience requires.
Absolutely.
To let go. I can't control it.
Right.
And it can be scary.
Nor do I
That's why a
wanna
lot of
control
people. Yeah. Oh, we want to control it. I want to
I
control,
know.
which is why it's transient.
right.
We back out of it. Oh,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
too scary. I can't control
Doesn't
it.
get any traction. Yeah. All right. So typically includes some supernaturalism. And I think I've already said this. We've already said that as we go through this journey, don't make the jump to something, that's not of what we're talking about. Put aside, if you were going to define mystical or mysticism by, again, a Ouija board or, something else. We're not dissing any of that. We're just saying that that's just not where
That's
we
all
are.
external reality.
Right.
Jesus was a mystic.
Amen,
Christianity, in its truest form, was based on mysticism. Let me
Absolutely.
introduce you to ideas and thoughts and spirits and relationships that you've never experienced before, world.
Right.
He was a fantastic mystic and my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's amen to that, man.
Right, and there's nothing
know.
cultish about it.
Oh, no.
It's just, hey, let's suspend what we've known and let's open the mind a little.
Just open your mind a little, right? Okay. So good stuff right there. So I got a little quote. We lost him here recently, Pope Francis, right?
Yeah, rest his
I
soul.
love that guy. I mean, I just absolutely love that guy for being willing to do just exactly what you were just talking about, Rev. He opened up and started to think and see things differently. And he had to swim against the current from age-old traditions, man. I mean, the Catholic Church goes like way back, okay? So here's what he said. Here's a quote, just a little quote. A religion without mystics is a philosophy. I love that. Because then all it is just words. It's all just, it's all what we can understand. It's all banter. It's all back and forth. And that's philosophy. We're just pondering the things. But the minute you add mystics into the equation, it becomes something greater than, without a doubt, doesn't it? I want some of that. We keep talking about that, don't we? I want some of that. Okay, so really great quote, I thought, from Pope Francis. Amen to you. Your pontiff. What would they call him?
I think that's what it is.
Your holiness.
Your holiness, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So,
But I say that about you guys too, your holiness.
I don't think I could live up to that, man. I think I'll just go. Give me the black cloak, not the red one. All right. So we got another little quote here from a guy. Stu and I, Coach Stu and I, were studying for a while, sort of a philosophy that he was part of. But I thought this was a really good quote from a guy named Ralph Lewis. Right?
Yeah, let me read. Yeah, from Ralph Lewis. Let me read this quote. It's a little bit long, so bear with me. If you would know a mystic, do not confine your search to monasteries and temples, but look also on the highways and byways, in towns, hamlets, and in the hustle and bustle of the world's greatest cosmopolitan centers. When you find someone who is industrious, studious, compassionate, loved by friends and neighbors, tolerant in religious views, and who can point out to you the magnificence of efficacy of God in the simplest things, you have found a mystic.
A mystic. And you know what? You might just find that mystic if you look in the mirror.
Well, I was going to say you had the right guy read it because he just described himself.
Well, thank you.
And he's too humble to own that. I'm just going to own it for him.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, listen, I mean, everybody out. So thank you, Rev. You're too kind. But everybody out there, let me just read one of the characteristics of someone who's a mystic: loved by friends and neighbors. I mean, come on.
Right.
I'm sure there are people out there,
Right.
probably all of you, that can say this.
Sure. Okay.
Right?
You already are.
Mm-hmm.
And in your life manifests these things that Stu just read to some degree or another.
Everybody's doing it.
Right?
Right.
It is you. Right? It's just a matter of we're still getting to the point of the why. Well, why do I want that? Well, right there. Is that a kind of life you want right there?
Yeah. Are you compassionate?
You
Yes.
know? I mean,
okay.
come on.
I'm a mystic.
So
No, it's important to and maybe take a bunny trail here. The true mystic is going to be loved and by friends and neighbors and be tolerant in religious views. They're also going to get some pushback. There are also going to be some people that don't like you because you're stretching the norm. You're stretching the mindset and the consciousness, and they're not going to like you so much.
True.
You look at I mentioned Jesus. There
Very
were some
true.
people that did not like him. He was beloved by his band of people who heard the message of love, but he was also despised by those who were not operating from love. It was hard to drag them through the pathway of transformation.
Well, I think one thing could be in there. Of course, I'm not gonna jump over Ralph Lewis, but and who has learned to suffer grandly, or however you want to put it. But believe me, mystics suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the deal, man. Okay. Because without that, it isn't going to be, it won't be genuine, quite frankly. Because if you aren't suffering through it, you're controlling it. Okay. Plain and simple.
Well, and we were talking about this in the pre-show.
Yeah.
Because of some of the life that we were sharing with one another. Right.
Yeah.
And but mystics, the reason that's true is because mystics find meaning in the suffering.
Yep.
Is what they do. It's not like by denying the pain. Like they're not saying there's no pain, but it's just seeing it as part of a deeper spiritual journey.
Right.
It's kind of, so that's what a mystic will do. So if you're doing that already, you're a mystic.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody has some type of suffering in their life at some point.
But it doesn't. They don't let it define them. It's
No.
back to Jesus' words:
Right.
"In the world, but
Right.
not of it." I'm having a painful, difficult, suffering experience, but I am not defined by it. I'm defined by a higher truth and reality. That's the Christ. So Jesus suffered, but the Christ brought the comfort.
No, it's still an ugh, but at the same time,
Oh yeah, it hurts.
how do you, how you filtering it, right? So great quote. Ralph, he's a really cool guy. He's passed away now, but left behind lots of this kinds of stuff that I read every week. So I'll tell you what, we talked. We talked about Van Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about. You want some of that? We talked about mysticism as it's defined,
Right.
and then we've got why bother?
Bring me the why. I
Yeah,
have
why?
to know why.
Why would I want to bother? And then some character traits of a mystic. And I think we talked about the fruit up earlier. What does it produce? But maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the core stuff that's inside a mystic. And then lastly, we'll talk about, let's do some work to raise your consciousness and your mysticism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we may get to that all in this episode. We might not. We might do another two-parter like we did not long ago, because this is such a really, to me, valuable lessons that we can learn here, because it will change everything, man. It really will. So anyway, so for the moment, that's where we're going. Let's see how far we get. And we'll start digging into that after we take a break. So just hang on. Appreciate you listening. We'll be right back.
Like what you hear so far? Join us in the Rogue Nation by going to our website, gorogue.life, where you will find links to our social media and podcast channels and a way to subscribe to all our happenings. We encourage you to become a member of our cafe, where you can interact with us and fellow roguers and keep the conversation going. Please share us and like us. Now, let's get back to our Wise Guys.
All right, welcome back to the Wise Guys, where it's not really a podcast, right? You'll just have to go to the front and re-listen to that. All right, we're in a we're in a backstreet brawl here. All right, so we talked about all the other stuff leading up to the why. Why would you want to apply this to your life, right? And I think there's some pretty neat little.
It's got to be a payoff. Nobody does anything unless there's a payoff. Right. So what is the payoff?
It's got to matter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how about this one just right up top? We talk about this all the time. How about being able to navigate life better from a deeper spiritual perspective, right? We talk about this. Let's just do it just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right? Don't we talk? We talk about it all the time. So navigate life better from a deeper spiritual perspective, right? And this is going to open up spirituality for you that you've never, and it doesn't matter what faith you are or religion you are or, what your tenets are or your dogma or anything like that, okay? This is you. Whatever you come to the table with. But if you begin to do some of the things we've already talked about, you're going to get a deeper spiritual experience.
I remember the first time I heard a song, God Makes a Way Out of No Way. And the reality is, when I got in touch with, there's no way, humanly, I can make this way. The way's not clear. I got into a place of love, of spirit, of something greater than the human experience. And suddenly, it's like the fog lifted. Oh, there's a path. There's a way. I didn't see it before with my human eyes, but the spiritual eyes made the way clear. And it was simply a shift in my consciousness to behold that which was always there that I wasn't seeing.
The aha moment.
Yeah.
Aha moments. Right. So again, if we've talked about this before on the podcast, that when you engage a spirituality, which of course mysticism is, all right, then things change. They can't be the same, and they are going to start being otherworldly. And that may sound a little woo-woo, all right?
It makes the impossible possible.
Yeah.
It's important. You hit a point. There are Christian mystics. There are Jewish mystics.
Sure.
There are Muslim mystics. There are atheist mystics. It's not confined in a box.
Right.
You have the ability to live your life in such a way that the impossible becomes possible. Mm-hmm. That, to me, is a wonderful why.
Absolutely.
You keep hitting the wall. You cultivate that mystical mindset, and it's like the wall disappeared. It's not there anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I think that's beautiful. You used it in the pre-show as well, Rev. Power. There's power here when you begin to enlist this stuff, to look at this differently, to open your mind and your heart and your spirit and your soul to this whole thing, right?
Yeah, the way this works for me is when you feel or nurture a connection to something like greater than yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sure. That's where this all happens.
Right.
And it's not power as we define it.
Right.
Let's put that wall in front of me, and I'm beating against it, trying to use all my might.
Right.
And it's not by might, it is by spirit, says the Lord. So the wall dissolves without me beating against it, wearing myself out and getting exhausted. It's an inner knowing that which was of the earth is of no consequence to me anymore. That's power.
And these things you can experience, and maybe it takes little baby steps, and you probably will, or you might just get fire hosed at some point. It just depends on your life. But just lean in. Just lean in a little bit. Okay, wherever you want to fall on the spectrum of everything we're talking about here, just pick one. Just pick one thing and just go, okay, I'm going to give that a shot. See how it's going to change your life, okay? So in all that, and I think, both Rev and Stu has hit on this, and what they already been saying is you get a peace. You get an exhale that all of a sudden things are framed differently, and the little stuff just doesn't bug you as much. Yeah. Or, you don't get as anxious about stuff. You don't get as fearful about stuff as you used to, right?
I think you develop more empathy, patience, love.
Yeah.
We talk about love a lot. Love towards others,
Sure.
I think that all happens. And it's not because you're forcing it. I think it's more about you just feeling like a connection to them. So which is what I encourage people to do. I always look for a way to connect with somebody that I meet. Mm-hmm. And it's especially fun when they seemingly are extremely different than me.
Seemingly. I like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Seemingly.
You bring presence. I've seen you do it. And you do it at the gas station when you talk about it. You're bringing a presence that is non-judgmental. That's what a mystic does. So you've got peace, power, and presence all in that one thing. And it may be a second. It may be a moment, but you've got proof. People say fake it till you make it. You don't have to fake it. Just allow it.
Allow it.
Yeah.
There's another meme. Don't fake it. Just allow it.
Allow it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, too. We're talking about mystical stuff, right? When all this happens, it happens beyond, most of the time, your cognitiveness. I think that's what we're saying here, right? So you have to let it go, because when you go into the room, like we've been talking about, right? You're in the presence of people in the room, and you bring an energy, you bring a presence, you bring this mystical quality into that room, and you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't do anything. But guess what? It's there.
Yep.
And it's sensed, it's felt by others. And if you really do sink into this, you're going to raise the whole room's level of consciousness.
Right.
How beautiful is that, man? I want some of that again. Okay, here we go. I keep saying that, don't I? All right. So we've already hit these last couple of points. You will get a deeper awareness of the spirit of, again, the creator. Fill in a blank, however you want to there, all right? But the power within the spirit, is always at everybody's, it's always available.
You know what I love about
there.
mysticism is it invites me to like live with awe and like curiosity.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Like I just love that. Like I don't always feel I'm okay with this. I don't feel like I need everything to be explained or I need to explain everything.
Right. Just sit with it. Right?
Not that I won't explore it.
Oh no.
And with people especially, but sitting in like just like this thing of like awe and curiosity and that like wonder like went away, like life would not be as cool and fun.
You have to become like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. And that's where the awe and the wonder and living in the mystery comes. Be like a child.
Yeah. Well,
I can do that every day. I can be like a child.
Stu's got no problem with that.
Childlike, not childish.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I saw this meme today that showed a picture of Jesus. We've seen this picture many, many, many times. He's sitting there and there's all the little kids, right? Yep. So they said, here you are, at 7 years old, right?
Right.
Now, here you are at, I don't remember, but, 57, right? And it's the same picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. It's the same thing, okay? That you have to come into this with, the view that's childlike, in order to be able to accept. Because one thing you didn't say, Stu, one word you didn't use, and all that stuff you just said.
Yeah.
Excitement, curiosity, all that.
Yeah.
Fear.
No, not at all. Yeah.
See? So there was no fear involved with that experience.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, it may sound like we're out there in left field. Here,
I got to tell you, I look for ways in life to have that wonder I had as a child.
Yeah.
Right. Because, when you get a first of something, like that's an amazing feeling.
Right.
And I truly believe, even as an adult that has had a lot of years of experience and a lot of life happening, you can still have that.
Oh,
you can
absolutely.
still recreate it.
Absolutely.
Over and over. This is why I watch movies over and over and over again, to get that feeling back. And listen to music. Think about it. You listen to music over and over. You get some type of feeling from it. Like, you can make this happen. You can have awe and curiosity and wonder.
Oh, absolutely.
And all of that in your life. You just have to look for ways to make it happen and not just sit back and think, okay, been there, done that. Like, no.
Well, it becomes
take that out of your vocabulary.
Who you are.
Been there, done that.
Right? Yeah.
Beginner's eyes, beginner's ears, beginner's mind. I'm seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, I love that.
I need that to be a meme.
Yeah,
take this out of your vocabulary.
Yeah, that I
banish it from your vocabulary.
I love that. That was really good. Been there, done that. Okay. No, you haven't. Okay. Never. Oh, you never can say that, right? So how cool is that? Yeah. So we got a couple more categories here, and I know we aren't going to finish it up in time to be able to wrap up this episode, So I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of backtrack a little bit and finish out this half, if you will, of the mysticism episode, and then we'll come back next week. We'll revisit a few of these things that we've already talked about, just to kind of
give us the how. How do each of you find that greater capacity to know God?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to put some wheels on it. We're going to give you some examples. We're going to, we'll talk about well, okay, I'm bought in. I think this is great. Okay, help me.
I can answer this question, Rev, and it's not just yes, because I need more context than that in answering the question. So your question was how, right?
Yeah.
It's by spending time with you two guys and looking for the God in each of you, which I see.
Some
every
days
time
that's
we're
probably
together.
a little harder than others, but you're still looking.
Rev, those are the fun days.
Yes.
Sometimes my monkishness gets in the way, as a matter of fact.
But the mad monk. Don't forget your adjective.
Yeah, that's
the
right. The mad monk. Okay, I like that new moniker, man. I think that's awesome. I'm gonna
Sometimes
start
I need
using
to
that.
take your limited self to the back alley and spank your bad behavior.
Yeah, stomp on me a little bit. Yeah, okay.
Oh my
So
gosh.
anyway, it's been fun. This is this is great, and we could talk about this for 5 episodes, quite
Yes.
frankly, because again, I'm going to go back. This means a lot. It really
everything.
does, man. And I'm just not trying to sell the podcast, okay?
Right,
I'm being honest from my life. I look at these guys and I look at others. It's not just the 3 of us around this table. We can all make a list of folks that fit into this category that we've known, that we love, that we've learned
And
from.
if you spot it, you've got it. You cannot see it in somebody else unless it's in you.
I love that.
That's so important.
Well, here we go again. You want some of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again. So
Yeah.
you want some of that? I hope you're saying yes,
Mm-hmm.
right? I really do. Because we want you to have some of that and more of that and more of it. And I don't know, more than you can possibly, which is great because it's an unending. It doesn't ever run out. Nope. So that's the beauty of it, right?
Wait, I have one thing to add.
Okay.
Maybe more. I'm going to call it one.
All right. I'm going to.
I have a short summarized version of mysticism.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, you ready?
All right. Cliff
It's-
Notes version, right?
It's not a belief system. It's a way of experiencing truth.
All right.
Amen.
What do you think about that?
It'll preach.
Yeah. You got it. You got it.
I got it.
You got it to gave you the nod. All right.
My night is complete.
So cool, right? But as always, we've got to end our whole experience, as always, right? With the challenge.
Here we go.
So your ongoing mission, should you choose to accept it, and we've been talking about it all episode, right? Is decide to think differently. This is different. Think it. Then you need to find some others that think the same way. I got them sitting right here at
Oh,
this
yeah.
table with me. Right?
Find them and hang out with them.
That's right.
And have conversations.
Live life. Then you need to strap on the armor, we call it, that you need to ground yourself in your truth and at the same time keep it open-handed enough that you're willing to think differently if you need to, right? And then you storm the gates, starting with yourself. You storm your apathy, your biases, your inabilities to be able, your fear, anything that's holding you back, you got to storm that. And when you do, you're going to help other people do the same thing. And lastly, if you go through all this stuff, maybe what we've been talking about tonight, you unleash unthinkable, right? We love that though. If we unleash it in you, that mission accomplished here, right? We've done our job. All right. So next week we're going to have part 2. Definitely, download it next week as well as this one. Get your friends, sit around, have a cocktail or a cup of coffee or a beer.
Y'all come
or whatever.
back now. We'll leave the light on for you.
We'll leave the light on. All right, that's good. All right. So come back and see us. Have a great week. We appreciate you listening, and we'll catch you next time.